Hi, I'm Briana Cisneros, or at Briana Cisneros, and I'm so excited to be here at the BTC house for BTC University doing my signature, the Bixie. Let's get into it. Now, my beautiful model here, we have it's a little bit different than maybe what you're used to looking at. She's wet from the parietal ridge down and dry from the parietal ridge up. So the Bixie in essence is actually two haircuts in one, okay? So we're kind of mixing together, true to its name, the bob and the pixie haircut. So what we have through the top here is actually kind of a signature pixie sectioning pattern that I use all the time, okay? So if you are a Renegade Royals member, like at my academy, you'll recognize the sectioning. It's a fringe, and then this center section, and then through the back here, you'll see her crown area, okay? So we've separated everything that lives above the parietal, and the reason that's so important is that what you do underneath really sets the tone and the foundation for the entire haircut, okay? So unlike a regular bob, where most bobs we talk about weight buildup and or blunt lines and square bobs or graduated bobs, which all entail a lot of buildup of weight. With the Bixie, there is an intense amount of removal of weight, okay? So with these sectioning, I'm trying to find my section right about where, so this is gonna change per client. If your client has thicker hair, you're definitely gonna want to take this section a little higher. And then if your client has thinner hair, you might wanna take this section lower, because ultimately this is gonna be undercut, and you have to make sure that what's living here can reach down and become almost like that bob in essence, right? So this is gonna be her undercut, kind of pixie part, same as here. So because this is all going to be undercut away, it's gonna really contour her to her head shape and to her nape, because a lot of times with the bob, the thing that is hard for us is that we kind of get this build up right here, and then when it grows out, I call it like the saggy diaper bottom haircut, where it just kind of looks like this, like, which is really funny because I'm like 9 months pregnant right now talking about saggy diaper bottoms. It's like, obviously that's on the brain. But that's literally what it looks like to me, is just kind of like a little bit too much, right? So we want to create the maximum amount of swing and movement throughout these areas. So let's get into it. I'm going to switch between my razor and my scissors. I am using my Arc Paragon 2s, and I'm obsessed with them. They are my little babies. I take really good care of them. If they ever drop, my heart breaks and I wanna die 1,000 deaths. It's like one of those things where, like I have all these scissors in my kit, and I really could just leave with these two tools and like a couple of clips and be good to go anywhere I go. That's the beautiful thing about haircutting, and you can travel the world and just take one pair of scissors and to rule them all. Obviously, Arc has some other great scissors specifically for certain things, but I just tend to gravitate towards these. They have such a beautiful length to them. They're super sharp, and then they have like a kind of like a lean delicateness to them, which for my hands, I have small hands, and they're so lightweight that for me to be able to throw them around, but also to get the depth in my point cutting and to really be able to dig deep without having, as much fatigue, and having it just be really, really like specific. I don't know, like it's like the perfect dry and wet cutting shear, because you have that precision, but then you also have that like ability to deep point cut and really get aggressive. So we're gonna get aggressive right now with this area. And I'm gonna kind of look at this front. I took a diagonal back right about where I want to establish where these are gonna be kind of wispy and flicky. So I want them to kind of wisp and flick out and away from her face a little bit, but they're going to be just a slight bit longer than what we kind of cut in here. And I also want them to be a slight bit longer. Sometimes you could go shorter on these. I show different variations on each client because every client deserves their own unique Bixie, right? But on her, I want to go, I feel like for her face shape, everything, we want to go about here. So I know that if I want to land about here, she just, look at this jaw. Oh my gosh, she has a beautiful jaw. So I definitely want this to feel young and fresh and hip and pop. And so just kind of below jaw length so that when it bounces up, it has a lot of room to play. So just below jaw length here. And I'm keeping that in mind because these little flicky pieces are gonna stick out from the bob. Most people are, putting the hair down, getting rid of all the hair underneath. We're doing the exact opposite. We're keeping all the hair underneath. So I know that's a lot of mental prep before we even cut hair, right? But we need to know where we're headed with this, okay? So if I was properly cutting this, I'd stand here. But so that you can see, I'm gonna stand to the side and hold my fingertips down, getting my comb out of the way, coming in with my shear, and opening and closing in one long kind of movement, just to get this kind of like wispy little edge right here. And I'm able to actually go in and cut out large sections from her hair because her hair is so thick and so heavy. It's only gonna feel incredible to her later. So I'm going to really remove a lot of weight through here and really allow myself room to kind of like make this feel a little bit more like the edge of a pixie than really a bob, right? So it's got that fun, kind of flirty, really piecey separated feel. And you can even just dial it in further. And then when you're ready to move on, diagonal back. So we're gonna go in, take our next diagonal back, take a little bit of the guide from the front, but really this is the part that you can be a little bit more liberal, and actually even around this ear right here, we're gonna take it shorter. So we're not creating a line down here. We're actually going a little bit shorter and creating a little bit of that like really loose undercut. So if you know how to build a round shape in a pixie haircut, this will come relatively easy for you. But if you kind of aren't familiar with that, I definitely feel like it takes a little bit of like knowing how to create this rounded shape through here and create a lot of layers through here, just like in the pixie, because I feel like that's the area that like you have to know your foundations before you can go in and be so freehand, like what I'm doing right now, right? Because I'm able to take liberties and just be really free-handed with this because I can see visually exactly like where I want to end. So I want to end here, that's where I want to end. And I want to go about halfway up from there to really get rid of some of that weight, and then I'm cutting kind of at a diagonal like this, right? So it looks like she's just slide cutting into it without really thinking about it, but I am totally considering my elevation. I'm considering that I want it to get shorter and shorter around the ear a little bit, and that I want it to feel like a really broken line right there. Oh my gosh, it's already so cute. I'm getting excited. And the beauty about this kind of piece here is that it's gonna be a little bit shorter, and it's nice because you kind of have more hair, like more weight removal through here. You'll see. So over directing it kind of forward and really going in, taking out that weight and letting it be short. Why not? Now we can actually tilt her head, let's see, a little bit to the side. Here we go. She's just doing it. She knows. She's like, I got you. And just moving this away, I'm going to create a guide. And so this is also an area where I change it up. Sometimes I want to start from the back and kind of go side to side. And then sometimes I want to establish exactly what I want this to look like under here. And right now, that's what I want to do. I want to establish like, where are these little feathery pieces going to be? What do I want them to look like? Where do I want them to land? Because that just gives me a really beautiful, just kind of like a guide and an inspiration. I want to kind of keep myself inspired for the rest of the haircut.